Hello. Woohoo! Am I on? Can you hear me? Yes. That's good. Just a check. Well, here we go. I mean, I don't know who planned this day, but you couldn't get two more different speakers. I mean, my God, he is so educated and qualified and connected and intellectual and scientific. And then you got me. I'm just going to babble. I think I'm a stand-up comedian or something. Anyhow, they always say, don't they, you know, start with a laugh. Get them laughing, get them on your side. Well, that's fine if what you say is actually funny. Not so good if it's excruciatingly embarrassing. So, first embarrassment, where's my clicker? Just going to go find it. Woohoo! Okay, so I am going to throw caution and cliches to the wind, and I'm going to start with, hopefully, a bit of a laugh. Okay, some of you may already have seen this recently on social media. What are the words in the middle? What do all these groups say? Put your hands in the air! Absolutely. Were you just clever, or did you see that on social media yourself? Well, I'm going to add a fifth group alongside bank robbers, mums, DJs, and preachers. I'm going to add public speakers. And I'm going to ask you to put your hands in the air if you think, one, this woman is clearly mad. Nobody wants to be described as mediocre. Oh, well, you're all too polite. Okay, number two. This woman could be onto something. You know, maybe good enough is good enough. Okay, I still have my work to do. I was concerned that if all the hands were up, I may as well go home. Or, number three, No false pretenses. It is indeed mediocrity. But why? I mean, you know, why? Why would anyone be satisfied with mediocrity? What am I on about? Anyhow, for those of you who like this sort of thing, and I have a feeling Sam probably would, what does the word mediocre actually mean? You'll be surprised. It comes from the Latin medius, meaning middle, and ocris, meaning rugged, a rugged mountain. So when did that start to mean ordinary, middling, unexceptional, not very good, average at its best? Surely nobody wants to be average. No? We want to be a bit more than average? Do we worry that we are maybe just too average? Do we worry that we are not good enough? I think that because of what we do tend to question a lot of what we do. We're under pressure. Okay, so another question for you. Hands in the air. If you think you are a bit of a perfectionist. A bit of a perfectionist. Of course we are. We all are, aren't we? I will quite happily spend the whole morning rewriting a perfectly good opening paragraph and then sellotape a light bulb fixing to my cooker hood. Seriously, I did this 5 years ago. It's pretty disgusting now. It's all kind of yellow and stained. But hey, that light bulb has not fallen off. Sometimes good enough is good enough. So I am going to try and convince you that maybe if we set the standards a little lower, sometimes, not with everything, only with light bulbs, maybe we can achieve more as a result. So here we go. Shameless plug for the books. This is a classic example of my mediocrity. And I must say I have probably, seriously. I have probably spent all of my adult life being pretty average. Average height, average weight, average intelligence, average writer, average actor, pretty average. And I don't think it's actually stopped me doing anything. If anything, I think that my mediocrity has actually made me more successful. Because I have this attitude of, how hard can it be? You know, when you're a student and you've got to do jobs to earn money, how hard can it be? Telephonist, yes, okay, just sticking wires in a hole. Face painting, slap on a bit of makeup. Silver service, laying a table. Choreography, nah. Turns out there's a lot more to choreography than jazz hands. So anyhow, there I was at drama school. Guess which one I am? Can you tell? It was the 70s, curly perms. The middle, reaching for the MC's groin. I mean, in fairness, as you can tell by everyone's expression, the poor guy was dropping to the floor and I was trying to catch him. Well, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But anyhow, I found myself having to do stuff that, yeah, how hard can it be? And I had this kind of naive view that if there wasn't really that much of a consequence, I could do it. I could do it. Choreography can't be that hard. Because I find that when we don't worry too much about something, we kind of do it better or easier. Maybe not better. Okay, maybe not better. It comes a bit easier, doesn't it? Do you remember the days when you wrote a story as a kid? Charlie found a dinosaur. The dinosaur was the size of a bean. And that was it. That's all you needed. You then carried on and you scribbled and you got to the end. There was no editing. There was no checking. There was no worrying about cliches. There was no worrying about what the clients thought. You just wrote it. Sometimes you illustrated it. I mean, I didn't even know what imposter syndrome was, let alone suffered from it. I thought I could do anything. But then, it all changed. When I discovered that there was actually a way of earning a living from talking and writing. I got a job in PR. Woohoo! Suddenly I was being paid to do what I loved to do anyway. This was serious stuff. This was what I was good at. And all that, who cares, all changed. This was serious, and there was no one more serious than me. Oh, did I take it seriously? I mean, I wasn't new to PR. I was writing. I'd been doing journalism and stuff. But this PR malarkey, I remember my boss saying things like, you can't say that. Well, why not? It's true. It might be true, but we can't say it. So I would come in early, stay late, take work home, work weekends, be a miserable old grump, rewrite things that were perfectly okay because I was striving for perfection. So anyhow, one day, boss calls me into the office, as they used to do back then, and said, how long are you spending on AirDrive? AirDrive make compressors. I had all the glamorous accounts. And I was too ashamed to admit just how long I had been spending on AirDrive, so I muttered something about learning curve, first impressions, you know, this was a account with future possibilities. And he went, stop. Stop it. Stop striving for brilliance. Stop spending 8 hours on a job we would barely get paid 2 hours for. Stop bankrupting us. We have to adopt commercial reality. No, this is writing. This is creative, darling. He then goes on to say, clients don't want the best. Clients can't afford the best. They want good enough. So I'd like to think that I took heed of his words. I accepted this mediocrity, this good enough. No. It was years and several husbands later when I finally thought, oh, and that's another thing. Just don't go there. Don't even try to change a man. So I eventually thought, okay, I'll do it. I'll do commercial realism. Probably when I got my own business and realized that really there was no choice. So, but it's difficult, isn't it? You know, we are all in a profession when we are having to be creative and original, when we are having to work under pressure. from clients and colleagues, and even friends. Even friends put pressure on us. I don't know about you, but if I go out with a bunch of mates that I haven't seen for years, what's everyone talking about? How busy they all are. It's like this competition to see who's the most exhausted. Because we're not just busy at work, we're busy in our home lives, we're busy having to do social media. Oh my God, it never ends. And now we've got to learn AI, and it's just one thing after another. So perhaps this commercial reality, perhaps accepting a level of mediocrity, perhaps accepting that we can't do everything, will maybe give us the freedom to do what we need to do. So I'm not saying that mediocrity means doing things badly. It's not the goal, but it's okay sometimes to not always be perfect. So I'm going to give you 5 reasons for embracing mediocrity. Number 1, and you might think I'm contradicting myself here, but accepting a level of mediocrity can make us more creative. We can actually be better because we're not trying to be better. Because when I was talking to people about this talk today, and I was kind of asking them how did they feel about mediocrity, and pretty much everyone I spoke to in business, whether it was their own business, small businesses, big organizations, said that perfectionism is a killer. You know, it's wonderful to have conscientious staff, but it's a nightmare, that constant striving for perfection. And it does inhibit your creativity if you're constantly worried about the end results. Creativity asks you to sort of, think out of the box. Then I did some research, and there has been lots and lots of papers, psychology and psychiatrists and all sorts of clever people, educated people, who actually say that perfectionism kills creativity. So they did a load of research, as they do. They get a bunch of students, don't they? And they sort of put them on graphs. And we have kind of perfectionism at one end and completely shit at the other. And a bit of average in the middle here. And they found that the people who were high on the perfectionism trait, when they were asked questions relating to creativity, they answered fewer questions and less original answers. So, for example, one of the questions they were asked was, name something that makes a noise. So the perfectionist would opt for pretty obvious things. Babies crying, pneumatic drills, jet aircrafts. Creatives were much more original in their thoughts. Okay, give me a shout out. What things make a noise? Not the obvious. What was that, sorry? Never do that again. Never ask people to shout things out. I have no idea. It was just a gabble. I'm sure they were all brilliant. Lesson number 1. So some took it even further and realized that, I love that, the relentless pursuit of flawlessness. It's an absolute killer. And this was something that really concerned me, because I know people like this. This professor, the psychologist and neurologist, she came up with this amazing quote about there is all or nothing. This is it. Nothing in between. Isn't that dreadful? But I know people. I know actors and singers and musicians and writers and artists and dancers, masses of creative people who absolutely follow this mantra. They won't play in a professional band because they're not good enough. But hey, they're not going to play with amateurs. They're too good for them. It's almost like there is nothing in between. Why not? Why not just go out and have fun? Go to the open mic night, have a sing-song, go to dance classes. You watch Strictly? These people go on television? So there isn't all or nothing. You can be sometimes in between, occasionally. You don't have to be brilliant at everything. So why are we worried? Why do we think we need to be better, faster, more efficient? Do we judge ourselves, or do we think other people are judging us? Or is it a bit of both? Well, let me tell you, as I'm going to say I am the oldest person in the room. I generally am. When you get to my age, you suddenly realize that nobody cares. Nobody notices. We're all there, wrapped up in our own little world on our mobile phones all the time, not paying any attention to anyone else anyway. So what the hell? You want to wear a big hat? Do it. You want to take up ukulele lessons? Do it. Don't make people suffer listening to you, but, have fun doing it. Anyhow, I'm going to rattle through my last few reasons. I'm aware of time. Okay, so reason number 2, create a happier workplace. I mean, let's be honest, nobody loves a smartass, do they? Nobody likes to work with a perfectionist. Nobody wants that picky person who sends you back your writing with, I think you'll find it should be whilst. No, it doesn't. It's while. I don't think you should put a semicolon there. Nobody wants that kind of level of pickiness. We want happy workhouses, happy people, more productive people. Because, again, research backs it up. If people could choose, they would prefer to work with someone who's realistic. Because when we're realistic about our own expectations, we tend to be more realistic about other people's as well. Number 3, be a more rounded person. I mean, don't get too stuck up your own arse. I mean, which of these 3 would you rather be? We can be a little bit too full of ourselves. Take it easy. Go out, have fun, have friends, have children. Well, no, don't have children. Just enjoy life. Do you know what recreation actually means? To recreate, to recharge our batteries. Take some time out, recreate. Live life in the real world. Oh, she's got a picture of a gun. Okay, another show of hands. I'm not getting you to shout out, I can't bear that, I couldn't hear anything. Hands up if you think, in the last 10 years, has UK crime gone up, down, or stayed the same? Gone up? Gone down? Stayed the same? Well, you might be interested to know that Central Data Crime Statistics say that the UK crime rate peaked just before Labour government, Tony Blair, took office in 1997, May 1997, and has been declining steadily ever since. Yep. And now, despite the fact that only 10% of crime is serious crime, it makes 50% of media coverage. We're not living in the real world. We're sometimes allowing ourselves to be too wrapped up in what we see and hear than in reality. So when we do live in the real world, when we accept that not everything's brilliant, yes, there are shitty days. Yes, there are good days. Don't look back at the last week or even the last month of your life. Look back at the last 6 months. Did you cope? Yeah. Did it matter that you didn't actually get everything done? Nobody died. Take it easy. Because if you don't, I'm not even going to go down the whole thing about stress and cortisol and physical health and mental health. But again, in doing the research for this talk, I spoke to a former soldier who now works with students who have tried to take their own lives. I mean, good God, university is meant to be fun. You're meant to go out and get pissed every night. It's horribly sad that there are people who are taking life too seriously. Does it matter that your bedroom's a state? Does it matter that you have to take that back out the washing basket, have a quick sniff and put it back on again? Believe me, as a Scottish Quiney from a part of the world that seriously believes that the biggest crime ever is laziness, if you're not working, there's something horrendously wrong with you. I have battled with it all my life. But when I do accept that, hey, I'm never going to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. So why not? Publish them yourself. Yeah, I did. I published them myself. Book of short stories that I'd written over about 15 years. Blog posts that I'd written on my website for over 10 years. Shoved them all in a book. Because when people say, what do you do? You say, oh, I'm a writer. And you say, oh, what have you written? Backs of jam jars, HR document policies, recipe ideas for sauces. They kind of expect you, don't you, to have a book. So I've got a book. Shameless plug for book. Anyhow, in summing up, are we aiming for mediocrity? No, of course not. But the irony is, if we accept a level of mediocrity, we tend to be more successful anyway. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you so much. Oh.
I was just going to say one last thing.
Sure.
And if all else fails, wear a pink suit.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.